Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Easy Maths Live prep class for our WAEC mathematics that is coming up today, like in an hour's time. So, we are going to try to revise. I'm going to try to revise some few questions, just to refresh our memory this morning. First of all, before we start, I want to remind you that do not enter with fear, except you did not prepare properly. But if you prepared properly, you might not have so much of a problem. First of all, try to answer the questions that you know first before approaching the questions that are harder. The simpler questions first before approaching the harder problems. And this exam is going to have, first of all, we're going to take the essay section first before the theory. The essay or theory section before the objective section, which it's okay, not too bad. So we're going to start right away. I'm just going to see how I can solve a few problems. Just a few problems, okay? Just a few problems. So where are we? I'm going to share my screen. So that we can start solving problems right away without wasting much time. This is a 30 minutes or less prep class. Okay. Remember, try not to be afraid. Okay. When you start, you pray. After praying, the prayer is going to help you calm down a bit. Okay. So then you go through the questions, read all the instructions. Read all the instructions first. Then when you read all the instructions, you can now start to solve the ones that you know. Okay, so I'm looking at May, June, WAEC. May, June, WAEC question. Okay. May, June, WAEC question for 2021 is what I'm going to try to see if we can solve some problems. Okay. A second. Give me a second. So I'm seeing the question here. The first question I'm going to talk about is Mr. Safo borrowed $25,000 from Afiak Financial Services at 21% simple interest per annum for 3 years. If he was able to pay back, If he was able to pay back. Okay, so it's a simple interest problem. So I think the principal for this question will be principal will be $25,000 according to the question. $25,000. Okay. So the interest, the simple interest, is what we are going to. Okay, the simple interest, we know, is equal to the principal times the rate times the time, all over 100. So we know our principal, and then we know our rate given in the question was 3 years, and sorry, our rate, our time, that's our time, not our rate. While our rate was given as 21%. 21%. So substituting these values into the equation, the principal is 25,000. The rate is 21%. And the time is 3 years. 21%. Okay? So now we're going to cancel this out. Cancel this, cancel this, cancel this, cancel this. And we're left with 250 times 21 times 3. So we'll use a calculator, because I know calculators are going to be allowed for this examination. So quickly, you punch that in your calculator. Punch that in your calculator. And so we're having 250 times 21 times 3 equal to, so what do we have there? We have 250 times 21 times this is our interest, right? Therefore, interest will be $15,000, 750, $15,750. This is what is going to be paid per annum or per year. So we have gotten that question. So we've gotten our full marks for that problem. 1 down. How many more to go according to the instruction? Now for this is 1A question, 1B question. Okay. So the question says 2 consecutive numbers are such that the sum of thrice the smaller number. 2 consecutive numbers. 2 consecutive numbers are such that the sum of thrice the smaller number and twice the larger number. Okay, so let's say the numbers will be, okay, let's say the smaller number is x. Let's call the smaller number x. Okay, now the larger number. So now let's get the relation. Okay, it said 2 consecutive numbers are such that the sum of thrice the smaller number is and twice the larger is 17. So the smaller number is x, and then the bigger number, since they are consecutive, the bigger number will be x plus 1. Okay, so the relationship that they're telling us about is the smaller number is twice the sum of 3 times the smaller number. Okay, 3 times the smaller number and 2 times the larger number is what? 17. That's what the question says. Find correct to three significant figures, the smaller number, right, as a percentage of the sum of the two numbers, right? So we're asked to find the smaller number as a percentage of the sum of the two consecutive numbers, right? Two consecutive. Find the smaller number as a percentage, right? So that means the smaller number being x, percentage of the sum of the two numbers, right? X plus 1. That's the sum of the two numbers. So when we find x, we're going to give them this relationship. So let's go ahead. We're going to find x for this. We're going to find x for this, right? So what do we do next? We'll say 3x plus 2. We're going to expand this bracket. So 2 multiplied by x plus 1 will give us hold on. 2 multiplied by x plus 1 will give us 2x plus 2 equal to 17. So 3x plus 2x gives us 5x plus, plus 2. So we're going to move 2 to the other side, or we'll subtract both sides by 2. Subtract both sides by 2. So that will give us 17 minus 2, which is equal to 15. So 5x is equal to 15. Therefore, x is what? 15 over 5 is equal to 3. So now we're substituting 3 into this value of the smaller number as a percentage of the sum of the two consecutive numbers. So we'll put x 3 there, all over 3 plus 3 plus 1 times 100%. So it will give us 3 over 7 times 100. So 7 goes here 1, 7 goes here 1, remain the 3. 7 goes there 4, remain the 2. And then 7 goes there 2. Okay, so we're going to have 3 times 14.3. So we go back to our calculator and we say 3 times 14.3 will give us what? 42.9. 42.9. Okay. So the question says we should correct to 3 significant figures. So the 42.9. Okay, 42.9. 42.9%. 42.9%. So we're done with question 1. At this point, you've gotten those marks for your question 1. So you can now move on to your second question. You can move on to your second question. So our second question says, a man left town M at 10 a.m. and traveled by car to town N. Okay, so let's see if we can describe that problem. Let's see if we can describe this problem in a second. Okay. Okay, so let's say my pen seems to be giving me a little bit of issue today. Okay, but while we're waiting, let me read the question. The question says, a man left town M at 10 a.m. and traveled by car to town N at an average speed of 72 kilometers per hour, right? And 72 kilometers per hour. He spent 2 hours for a meeting and returned to town N by bus at an average speed of 40 kilometers per hour. If the distance covered by the bus was 2 kilometers longer than that of the car, and he arrived at town M at 1:55 p.m., calculate the distance from M to N. Okay. Okay. So, okay, now, so the question, a man left town M, right? Town M at 10 a.m., right? And traveled by car to a town N. Now, the average speed he used to get to that town was 72 kilometers per hour. Okay. He spent 2 hours for a meeting. He spent 2 hours. He spent 2 hours for a meeting and returned to town N by bus at an average speed. So he returned back to town M. He returned at an average speed of 40 kilometers per hour. If the distance covered the bus was 2 kilometers longer than that of the car, and he arrived town M. At this point, he arrived at town M at 1:55 p.m. Okay. So now the distance, let me use a red color. The distance from M to N by car. The distance by car. We'll call it S. Then the distance by bus. By bus is 2 kilometers plus S. Okay. Calculate the distance from M to N. Okay. So the purpose of the time is to for us to be able to calculate the total magnitude of time spent. Okay. So let's calculate. So first of all, if we want to get a relationship between speed, we know speed is equal to distance over time. Okay, so we have the speed already, we have the time, but we don't have the distance. We're looking for the distance. So how do we get the time? We're going to sum up the total time. So 10 a.m. to 1:55 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. is 2 hours. 12 a.m. to 1 p.m. is 1 hour. Plus 55 minutes. Okay. So it's going to be 3 hours 55 minutes. Okay, so that's our time. So looking for our distance, we're going to say looking for our distance. Okay, we're going to subtract 2 hours. Going to subtract 2 hours. 2 hours. So we are left with 1 hour 55. So the total time taken for him is going and coming back is 1 hour 55 minutes. Okay, 1 hour 55, the total time. Okay, then the total distance. Okay, so we're going to, since we have all this information, we're keeping it somewhere and we're going to use it to solve our problem. We're going to use it to solve our problem. Okay, so now with this information in mind, we'll say the speed is equal to distance times time, while distance is equal to speed times time. Okay, so we have the total speed. We have the total speed, average speed, and then we have the total distance. Average speed and the total distance. Okay, so the average speed will be, we're given a particular speed, so we'll say, or we can do it individually. So we'll say the speed was 72 kilometer per hour times time. The time is not known. You know that the time is total of 1 hour 55 minutes. That's the distance from M to N. Now the distance from N to N was what? 40 kilometer per hour times, we know that it's going to be T minus 155 hours. Okay, now the distance was given to us as, okay, let's say the distance is S. The distance for M to N will be S plus 2 kilometer. Okay, so we have two equations here, equation 1 and equation 2. So equation 1 is S equal to 72T. Equation 2 is S plus 2 equal to 40 times T minus 1 hour 55, right? 1 hour 55. So we're going to convert this to hours, to proper hours. Okay, so we'll say if 60 minutes equal to 1 hour, therefore 60 plus 55 minutes will be, which is equal to 115 minutes, will be equal to 115 over 60 hours. Okay, so we're going to say 115 over 60. Okay, so now let's substitute. We're going to substitute equation 1 into equation 2, right? S. So S in equation 1, can we shift this? We're going to shift this. Let's shift this to one side so that we can have some space to continue our problem. Okay, so substituting S, the value of S as 72T, we'll have 72T plus 2 equal to 40 bracket T minus 115 over 60. Okay, so we're expanding this, we'll have 72T plus 2 equal to 40T minus 115 over 60 times 40. So cancelling this out, 2 is going here 2 times, 2 is going here 3 times. So we'll have 72T plus 2 equal to 40T minus. So we'll go to our calculator and we're going to calculate 115 times 2 over 3, right? So we'll say 115 times 2 over 3. So our answer will be, okay, so let's write it in fraction. Our answer, okay, we can write it in decimal, so that would be 76.7. 76.7. So we're going to rearrange this equation. We're going to rearrange this equation, right? Let's rearrange this equation. We're going to rearrange this equation, move it upward. Okay. So we're going to rearrange this equation. We're going to take like terms. We are going to move 40t to this side and move plus 2 to this side. So if plus 40t moves to this side, it becomes 72t minus 40t. Then we have minus 76.7 minus 2. Are we on track? I should guess so. So we have 32t, right? 32t equal to minus 74.7. So t will be 74.7 over 32. So we'll use our calculator. Now the idea of this is for us to get the distance. We're trying to find the distance. So 74t, 74.7 divided by 32 will give us what? 2.3. Will give us 2.3. So t, this will be 2.3 hours. Our question is going to be in hours. Our question is going to be in hours. Okay. Where are we? Okay, we could also, yeah. So we're going to substitute, going back to equation 2, equation 1, we are going to substitute the value, right, of t into s. So we'll have s equal to 72 times 2.3. You know what, we're going to ignore the negative sign. So 72 times 2.3, 72 times 2.3, 72 times 2.3 hours will give us 165, 165.6, 165.6 kilometers. So the distance traveled by the man was 172.6 kilometers. So that is our problem for number 2. Actually, I'd rather skip number 2 question. But the process is not bad. Okay, so we'll quickly do number 3 question, and then we'll call it a day. We'll call it a day for this practice. We'll call it a day for this practice. So we'll say, so number 3 question says a point X, Y, and Z are located such that Y is 15 kilometers south of Y, south of X, and Z is 20 kilometers from Y, X on a bearing of 270. Calculate correct two significant figures, Y, Z, and B, the nearest degree, the bearing of Y from Z. So let's read the question once again. So we have different points, right? We have different points. So we're going to say I have different points, X, Y, and Z located such that Y is 15 kilometers south of Z. Y, let's call this point Y. Point Y. is 15 kilometers south of X. Okay, so we're going to use a straight line. We're going to use a straight line. "15 kilometers south of X." So this is Y and this is X. Okay, 15 kilometers south. South means it's going downwards, right? South. Okay, then south of X. Z is 20 kilometers from X on a bearing of 270. So we're going to draw 270, right? 270 is, let's say, starting from this point, there's 0 degree. So we're going to measure 270 degrees, which is ending at this point. So this is 270 degrees. So we are going to mark a point X at this side. Okay. So it is 20 kilometers. They are 20 kilometers south, right? So this is Z, point Z. Okay, so it is 20 kilometers. It is 20 kilometers. So the question says, find YZ. Find YZ. So I'm going to use a lighter color to locate the point YZ. YZ. This is a point. We are finding that point. We're calling it what? YZ. Okay, so quickly to find it, let's remember that this is, we can use Pythagoras theorem to find this. Okay, so YZ, using Pythagoras theorem, we're going to say YZ square is equal to XY square plus XZ square. So we'll say XY square is 15 square, then 20 square. Then this is YZ square. So we're going to find the square root of both sides to eliminate the square. So this will be YZ equal to the square root. The square root of the square of 15 is 225, and the square of 20 is 400. So we're going to find the square root of 625. Okay, and we all know that the square root of 625 is 25. Therefore, the distance here is equal to 25 kilometers. So what are we going to find? The nearest degree, the bearing from Y to Z. The bearing from Y to Z. So how do we find the bearing from Y to Z? Bearing from Y to Z is this distance, this angle, Y to Z. We can also find this angle, which is not too bad also. So let's move this to one side. Let's move this to one side. So the bearing of, we're looking for the bearing. The bearing of Y. The bearing of Y from Z. The bearing of Y from Z. So that is this angle, theta. So, um, so applying our trigonometric ratios, what ratio are we going to use for theta? Knowing that we have 20, we have 15, we have all the sides known. This side is 25 kilometer. So we can use any. We can use tan. So we can say tan theta is equal to, remember, tan is opposite over adjacent. The opposite of this angle is what? 15 kilometer. That is the side that faces the angle. Then the adjacent is the side that the angle lies on, which is 20 kilometer. So theta will be arctan, that's the inverse of tan, 15 over 20. So you use your calculator right away. Use your calculator. You go to your arctan. You go to your arctan, trigonometry. Oh, I need arctan. I need the inverse of arc of tan. So if you use your calculator, okay, let me quickly get to my calculator. So arctan 15 over 20. 15 over 20. Okay. We need arctan. We need arctan. So you have to use shift and your tan. Okay. So when you use shift and your tan, our answer will be theta will be 36.9 degrees. Okay. So if you approximate that, you have 37 degrees. And so that is our answer for question 3. Okay, so this is section A. In section A, we're required to answer all the questions. We're required to answer all the questions. So the bearing of y from z. Bearing of y from z is 37 degrees. 37 degrees. Okay, but also there's something we did not put down. The answer will not just be 37 degrees, because we will have to sum up starting from 0, right? So we're going to add 90 degrees. So we say 90 plus 37 degrees, which is equal to 127 degrees. That's the final answer. So question 4. Question 4. Before we round up, please. Question 4. You know, this section is compulsory. Section A, you're required to answer all the questions in section A. You're required to answer all the questions in section A. So let's see if I can just answer this last question. Okay, so we have a diagram. We have a diagram. It's a circle. It's a circle. And then a triangle. Okay, so we'll have something here. Something here. Then we'll have something here. Yeah. Then we have something here. Okay. Then we are going to erase all this lines from here. Okay, so now we have our problem. So this side is B, this side is C, this side is D, this side is O, and this side is A. And we have another line coming down here. That's O. Okay. So this angle on this side was given as 34 degrees. Okay, so in this diagram, AD is the diameter of a circle with a center O. If AB is a triangle in a semicircle, and OAB is equal to 34 degrees. Find, so we're required to find angles OBD and angles OCB. Okay, so we're going to shift this to one side. I'm going to shift this to one side. Okay, well, we'll start to solve the problem. So this is WAEC 2021 question 4 essay question. So the solution is angle OAB, angle OAB is equal to angle OBA. Angle OAB 34 is equal to OBA. That's these two angles are equal because it's at the center of the circle. It's at the center of the circle. Okay. Then what do we do next? So we've established that they are equal. They're all equal to 34 degrees. Then angle ABD. Angle ABD is established as 90 degrees. Angle ABD is established as angle 90 degrees because it's the center of a semicircle, triangle at the center of a semicircle. Okay, so you're going to say triangle, we're going to write it at the center of a semicircle. Okay, so that's the reason why it's equal to 90 degrees. Is equal to 90 degrees. So therefore we're looking for OBD. OBD, that's this angle. Therefore angle OBD will be equal to, remember it's at the center of the circle. It's at the center of the circle. The center of the circle will be equal to angle ABD minus angle OBA. Angle ABD minus OBA. All right. Sorry, this is OBD. This is OBD. Okay, this is OBD, not this. That's why it's good to look very carefully when you're solving your problems. This is angle OBD. So we're going to say this full angle minus this angle gives us this angle, right? So that means angle ABD is 90 degrees minus angle OBA, which is 34 degrees, which gives us a final answer of 56 degrees. So that is the first part of question 4. Okay, so we're going to shift this to one side while we solve. Okay, now let's just go and solve it here. The second part, we're looking for angle OCB. Angle OCB. So from angle OCB, we have BOC BOC plus OCB. BOC plus OCB plus OBC is equal to 180. So that's a triangle, right? Look at from triangle OBC, the sum of all the triangles, that's this triangle. Sum of all the angles of the triangle will give us 180 degrees. So we'll say angle OBC plus angle BOC plus angle BCO is equal to 180 degrees. So what are we looking for? We're looking for angle OCB. We're looking for this angle. We're looking for this angle, right? So BOD is also equal to the sum of the two exterior angles, right? Or OAB. OAB. Okay. BOD, that's this angle. It's going to be the sum of these two exterior angles, right? So we'll say angle BOD is equal to 34 plus 34, which is 68 degrees. So we've gotten this angle, then we'll try to find this other angle, right? So that was established as 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Okay. Okay, so what do we have there? This angle is 90 degrees too. This angle is given as 90 degrees. Obviously, when you look at it, you see that it's a right angle triangle. So we'll say we've gotten the three angles. So we'll say 90 degrees plus 60 degrees, 68 degrees plus what we're looking for, which is angle OCB is equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, angle OCB will be 180 degrees minus 90 plus 68. 90 plus 68 is what? 158 degrees. Therefore, when you subtract that, you have 22 degrees. And there we have our answer. So I'm going to call it a day so that we can have some time to go and prepare for our examinations, everyone. So I'm wishing you a successful mathematics WAEC examination this morning. Go out there and win, go out there and succeed and ace your maths class. Make sure you subscribe to Easy Maths Tutor if you've not already. Subscribe to this channel. Invite your friends, families, and loved ones. If you're having problems with mathematics, you can become better with Easy Maths Tutor. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely and a blessed day. Bye. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for coming. Please do not forget to share this video. I want to give a shout out to Miss Judy K and also to Sylvia Bands and everyone that attended this live stream, the Rich Kid. Thank you for coming. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, and then you can go out and subscribe to each other to help our channels grow. Thank you for watching. Bye, and see you in my next broadcast.